Good morning, guys. We're back out on Barren River Lake. Been a few weeks since we've been out here. It's been a week fishing at the ocean and went to the Tennessee River. And then Daddy was sick a weekend, so been quite some time since we've got to get out here. But we out here, it's the middle of the spawn. We're gonna give you some tricks to catching fish during the spawn today. And Daddy has a fish on. We did forget the takedown cam at the house. Well, Daddy forgot it, but it's kindly my fault because I woke up late and didn't meet him at his house. I met him at the boat ramp, so that's what I get for sleeping in. But let's see what he has on. And we'll come at you with the first tip for the day.
Big fish coming.
Try to get this net up here and stay on him. Oh, sorry, I went off of him. Let's see here. All right. And he's in the net. That is a good fish. Is that a
big male?
Big male, belly still good and dark. From
yeah, I don't know. It may be a female. I gotta look at her, bud.
All right.
Here's the thing. I seen the rod get hit one time, and then a stick got hung on the line. So I picked the rod up to get the line off the stick, and the fish took it down. So I had it in my hand when it took it down. Oh yeah, it's a big male. Man, what teeth he's got.
Yeah, I could see his belly was dark. That's a hey Daddy, your planer board's 100 yards behind you. There's no way we drove that far. Fish has hit that and pulled that back there. I don't think we had drove that far since you clicked that, but I could be wrong. It took about 3 minutes for you to get that fish in. But we're only going a half mile an hour. All right, let's get this hook out, show them to the camera, and tell these guys how you located that fish. Because we never even looked at the electronics to pick this spot. This just comes from fishing a reservoir, and honestly, we noodled for years. We don't do it anymore. It puts a real strain on the population. We know better now, but knowing where the fish are when they're spawning, it taught us a lot about that.
Good fish this morning.
Definitely is.
But how we picked this spot this morning, we know. You'll weigh his fish real quick, then I'll tell him.
Yeah, let's weigh his fish. I'll be right back with you as soon as he gets it on scales.
It's 32. What is this?
32. Nice 32-pound blue cat this morning.
Bigger than 32.
Yeah, he's got some girth on. He's not that long though, Daddy. That girth though, well, made me think it was. I was thinking probably about 5 pounds more than that.
Picture of him on my phone.
Yeah, we'll get a picture. But about 32 pound there. All right. So get a release, Daddy, and tell us tip number one.
Get him back in the water.
Well, we taking a while to get tip number one out of our mouths this morning.
There you go. All right. And Cody, if I need to start turning this, we're about to hit the bank over here.
All right. Look at the camera and tell us tip number one, and I'll steer us around.
All right. So my first tip is when you're fishing the spawn, is to fish around structure, stuff that they can get in under and wallow out their beds.
Rock is a big one.
Rock is a big thing. We know right here, there's an older bridge abutment right up past, I don't know, 100 yards back, and there's a rock pile that comes all the way out through here. So we just drug up the edge of that rock pile.
And like you said, what the fish will do is they'll get under those big rocks and they'll waller out a spot.
Out a bed up under them, and that's where they'll lay their eggs. And the male fish is the one that actually stays in there and protects them.
And they won't come off bed to eat, but he must have just come off. He was still really dark from all the hormones from being in the spawning state of mind. And not only rock piles, but rock ledges, any kind of rock shelves they can get up under and waller a spot, they'll get in some big fish. You'll get in a tiny spot.
And remember, they like sandy, muddy bottoms that they can wallow out those beds. Little rock is good, but the big shelly rock is not good. They won't, because they can't wallow out that bed in there. They want something where they can get in there and they can wallow out a big bed that they'll lay the eggs in, and the eggs lay there and the male is laying there and protect them.
The time the shelly rock is good is if it's huge shelly rock, and or not shelly, but like at light, you know what I'm talking about. Like
It's gotta have some mud, some sand.
Right, but I'm talking about the big, like, flat pieces of rock. Yeah. So, well, that's tip number one, and a little bit of added information on what kind of bottom material they like. We're gonna get you some more tips and hopefully get us some more fish.
I done got slimed this morning.
And all right, so I'm gonna go ahead and give y'all tip number two. Daddy just got that rod back in the water he caught that last fish on. And tip number two would be stay persistent. I know some people get discouraged when they know the spawn's going on. The bite slows down because a decent portion of the fish are on bed. But not all the fish go on the bed at the same time. And your females are on bed a lot less time than your males. Your males go in, make the bed. Your females come in with them, lay the eggs, and then they're out of there. The males stay behind, protect the eggs, and protect the fry for a few days after. So, tip number two is stay persistent. Don't be discouraged by a little bit of a slower bite. You can still go out during the spawn and catch some really good fish. Although it might not be as fast paced as some other days, it'll still be a great time. Get out there, have fun with it. Stay tuned for the rest of them.
All right, took me a minute to get this phone going. I think Cody.
We need the takedown cam this morning. So
yeah. I don't know what I was doing this morning. I couldn't get the thing right. Anyway, Cody's hooked up with one here on the planer board.
And I let it get in the other planer board, I think.
Yep.
It's all right, I'll bring it in with me.
He gonna get a good fight now. He got the other planer board hooked up. And probably gonna get this other line if he ain't careful. I'll step back here just a little bit. Well, I don't know where to step to.
Gar.
He's got a big old gar.
I thought it was pulling funny because I never felt any movement.
We just
I don't care if it gets off, so I'm just going to get my other line out of the way. You can show them it there, Daddy, if you want.
Yeah. Well, it just went down where I can't see it.
If it comes off.
It comes off, that's good. But if not, we'll show you this big old, he's got a big old gar on.
All he's going to do is put a bad spot in my leader.
got both your lines tangled up.
I kindly did that. That might have been more my fault than the gar's fault. Oh.
You want me to get the net, or he's hung? There he come off.
Did you see him?
Yep. All right. Gar's gone. Good deal. We
could have landed him probably if we'd been a little quicker on that deal, but who wants a gar in the boat?
It looked like the hook had him hooked underneath.
I was hooked
was
in the corner of the mouth.
But anyway, I just seen him come off. I don't want to deal with that thing.
I didn't want his nose in the net. The hydro web's got a pretty big gap in the net. It's got a big mesh, so that gar could have probably got its nose in between the mesh pretty easy.
Take that. Well, he let off.
We might be in some gar, which you just seen a few swimming at the surface.
Yep.
We knew they were here. But gar and catfish feed on the same thing.
That's right. That's right.
So if you can deal with the gar bite, as soon as you get past them, you might catch some good fish.
Yep. We're gonna get this untangled, get these rods back in the water, and we'll get back with y'all
with some more tips. Fish on.
Well, Cody's been back there. I think he's been trying to catch every gar in the lake. And I think he finally got him a catfish. He's had one big gar on. I know probably, what, 2 more takedowns from gar?
Yeah, big, quick, violent takedowns that just immediately let off. This gar coming by.
I'm going to try to stand up here.
And this fish is done at the top of the water.
Bring him on the outside of that orange one, or?
Yeah.
There it comes.
Little blue cat.
Maybe we can leader line him.
Yeah.
There he is. Hey, he's chunky little fella.
Little female.
Yeah, little female. If we was looking for eaters today, that would be a good one. Go, if you don't care, click your planer blower real quick. It's going real far out. There you go.
All right. So you heard me this morning say something about the fish Daddy called about how dark it was. You can see just your normal blue cat color. Belly's got that high white belly, but the males during spawn, they turn real dark and it creeps all the way down. So easy way to tell males from females, and there's other ways, but that's one real simple way. Get it back in the water.
There she goes.
Had a pretty good little splash for a little fish. Got me soaked. Well, I'm gonna get these lines back out, and we'll be back with the next tip.
Go.
All right. So tip number 3 is look for shallower water, adjacent to your deeper water. In this case, the deeper water would be our channel, and we're in a shallow flat that goes up into a very shallow cove. We know for a fact fish spawn in that little cove over there, but we're working our way out a little bit, and we're trying to catch these fish that are coming off spawn and transitioning to a little bit deeper water to rest, to feed. They'll come in and out of that deeper water to feed up. So we're kind of splitting the difference between the two, but you can't go wrong going all the way up into the shallow either. So target those shallow flats during the spawn season. The water temperature's warm, obviously, the spawn's going on, and that's a really good place to key in. Go ahead and give you tip number 4, and we're firm believers they make a big difference, and that's use demon dragons. We drag bait pretty much exclusively when we're on our home lake. We don't when we're on river systems and things like that. But they even work when anchored up, because any kind of little movement still puts off that rattle sound, and it floats that bait up off bottom. I think it makes it easier for the fish to ambush it. You can hear they have a fantastic sound, and it's really good and loud. I've never had an issue with any of these leaking like we have with some other brands that we've used. So if you want to get you some Demon Dragons, all you have to do is go to demondragons.com, and when you go to checkout, enter promo code 3+120. That'll get you 20% off of everything you order from demondragons.com, and we'll have that link and that promo code in the description. All right, we'll be back with you with more tips real soon.
All right, there it is. Fish on, fish on. I thought Cody hit the 0.5, but it's still on 1.
Let's take another step back.
Get back here where I can get it in here. On the planer board again.
All right. And we get him back in the water, we'll have some more tips for you.
There you go.
See here.
Another decent little blue cat.
We just had a monster on about 10-15 minutes ago that swam up under something, and I guess a rock or something cut our line. Kind of sickening.
Yeah, Cody said he thought it was probably the best fish he's ever caught. It bruised his ribs where it jerked the butt of the rod into his ribs.
But let's get him back in the water.
Back in the water.
All right. So I think we're on tip number 5. So what did we say for tip number 5? When you're fishing the spawn, the bite can be finicky. We all know that. Bring a variety of baits. Put you out a few different baits. You know, whatever baits you know work well. Bluegill, skipjack, shad, chicken if you like using chicken. Things like that. And put a few different baits out. If you start getting all your hits on one bait, then swap over to using all that bait. Bluegill's what's working well for us today. So now we've got bluegill on everything. But, you know, figure out what those fish want, because that bite can be a little more, well, not even a little more, a lot more finicky during the spawn. So bring a variety of baits. And I'll go ahead and roll into tip number 6 for y'all too, since it goes so well together. Spawn, warm water. Warm water really washes your bait out a lot quicker. So change that bait a little more often. Go ahead every hour, every 30 minutes, depending on the size of bait you're using. You know, go ahead, swap that bait out and get some fresh bait on there. Keep a good scent trail. Those 2 things right there will really help you. And we've got a few more tips coming at you, but we're gonna see if we can get another fish on real quick.
All right, fish on, fish on. I couldn't get it going in time to get the takedown, but anyway, he's hooked up.
Part of leaving the GoPro at home.
Yeah, that's my fault. I left the GoPro, our charging cords, and our battery pack and everything at home this morning. I got in too big a hurry, I reckon.
Come on off that flame board. Of course, they pop off any other time, but
When you don't want them to, they'll pop off easy.
yeah. He just swam into that other planer board, I think. Let's see. Nah, he can get it. get him in the boat, and we'll give y'all another tip. Catching these fish during the spawn. We are still in the middle of the spawn. And I might.
That's a little better blue cat.
Yeah. Well,
Gonna have to reel just a little bit more.
quit being a rookie.
Well, I don't know what kind of net job he called that one.
One that got the fish in the net.
He about ready to be out of it.
No, me and him's friends. He wants to hang out for a minute.
Another old blue cat for today, another female.
Right in the old side of the mouth.
With the old Gamakatsu 8/0 and the Demon Dragon.
And the Dragon Weight.
Dragon Weight, that's exactly
All right.
on the planer board.
Decent little female blue cat.
Yep. Seemed like she done laid out. She,
Yeah,
I think she's big enough to lay.
It looks pooch, but it ain't. It's
Right, it's
soft.
soft.
Yep. So get her back in the water. We ain't gonna let her hang out too long.
There she goes. All right, Cody, give us another tip.
All right. Well, you see, we're dragging. We drag 90% of the time. But even when we're anchoring, especially during the spawn, it's certain times of the year we might sit on anchor for a long time in a good transitional spot that we know fish will be traveling through. But during the spawn, firm believer, if you're dragging, it doesn't apply to you as much, but if you're anchoring, be on the move. Give it 30 minutes. If you've not gotten a bite, not gotten a good takedown or caught a fish, pack it up. And if you have caught a fish, give it another 30 minutes. If nothing really commits after that, go ahead, try your next spot. Even if your next spot's only 30 yards down.
Right, you don't have to make big moves.
Right.
Just move.
You know, and while I always, if we're anchoring, when I set up on a spot, as soon as I'm set up, got the rods out, if you're blessed enough to have some navionics and stuff on your boat, you look at it, go ahead and try to read the bank, figure out what your next move is going to be. If you don't have navionics on your boat, you've got it on your phone, go ahead, look at it, whatever the case may be. Heck, like I said, even if it's just reading the bank, trying to figure out what you're going to do next. If that bank's got a steep drop off, well, that drop off continues into the water. If it's a real gradual slope, well, then it's probably a shallow flat there if you don't have electronics. So read the bank, do a few things, but be on the move. And that is, I think, tip number 7, but I may have lost count.
All right, we're gonna get this one baited back out. Another tip I have for you when you're fishing the spawn, remember, as these fish come off bed or whatever, they're stressed out. They've been up under there. It's been a lot of wear and tear on their body. Even though they're going to come out there and they're going to be hungry, they're not out to eat a real big piece of bait because it's hard on their digestive system. It's hard on their stress levels. So I would suggest using what I would call a medium-sized piece of bait during the spawn. Don't use a real large piece of bait, something that they can eat and digest.
All right. And we got 2 more tips coming at you here soon. I'm gonna see if we can pick another one up here. We're only gonna fish for about another 10 minutes, but we got a good spot, good feeling about this spot we're about to come over. Well, that spot I just said I had a good feeling about didn't produce anything, so I guess I was wrong. But I'm gonna go ahead and give you our last 2 tips of the day. It'll be tip number 9 and tip number 10. First one of those 2 is try to fish near dawn and dusk. It's warm out. If you live on a lake where there's a ton of pleasure boaters like we do, you're going to be overrun with wakes, and it makes it hard to fish. And it seems like when the water's turned up, got that much going on it. It seems like the bite's not as good. Also, even when there isn't a bunch of boats out on the water, it just seems like this time of year, that's our best bite window. So try to get out there in those times, but if you have to go out in the middle of the day, go out. Give it a try. I'm not saying you won't produce fish. And the last tip number 10, is find some backwaters. Find some backwater creeks, some coves, places like that. They tend to be shallower, which is what you're looking for. We've done discussed that. But also they warm up quicker because of that. Also, if you're in current, the current's not as bad in those places, and those fish really like to get out of the current to spawn. So try those tips. That's 10 tips. Hopefully they help you when spawn fishing. We're calling it a day. You can see Daddy's back there reeling up right now. We come out for a few hours. We end up managing 4 and a gar. Wish the gar would have left us alone.
And Cody had another big fish on and something cut.
Yeah, I don't even want to think about that. But all the same, been a good day. Anytime you can manage 4 fish in a few hours during the spawn's not bad at all. You got to keep your expectations obtainable whenever you're fishing during spawn, because the bite does slow down. But hopefully if you do those things, you'll go out and have success too. As we always say, it's God, family, and the great outdoors. Thanks for watching, and God bless.
Hey guys, if you like my people channel, go click another one's videos and watch them, please.